Good morning. Good morning all, and welcome to our first virtual District 1080 Assembly. Just a couple of points before we get started. If you need to ask a question, please can you use the chat box, and then we'll be taking questions at the end after we have seen the Holger Knaack video. And so I will now start. As I am already the district governor, about to start my second year, it will be the leading assembly of 2021 for us. I will be presenting today with our new district governor, Ian Elliott, and our RI direct-elect, Nicki Scott. We'll also be featuring a video by RI President Holger Knaack at the end. As this Rotary year finishes at the end of this month, I reflect with you on the message I gave at the 2019 Assembly from RI President Mark Daniel Maloney. Rotary connects the world. He went on to say, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Mark Maloney and our President Donna Wallbank charged all district governors in Rotary Great Britain and Ireland to spread the word to all Rotarians. A year ago at district assemblies around the world, this message was given to Rotarians with a challenge to be change makers. Change makers. No one could imagine that we would have to suffer the COVID-19 pandemic, and change suddenly became a necessity. Rotary had to react and change the way we meet, our methods of working in our communities, fundraising, and our business communications, all whilst socially distancing. I must congratulate Rotarians all around East Anglia on your ability to adapt to the changes. Well done, well done. I returned from the International Assembly earlier this year, very motivated with the 2021 message from incoming RI President Holger Knaack. Rotary opens opportunities. This clear and positive message has had an unexpected boost by the pandemic restrictions. While clubs adapting by changing to Zoom meetings, we immediately started to open new doors, new opportunities, expanding our reach, bringing together Rotarians from near and far, so connecting the world. Having guests from United States, India, Australia, and in fact, our E-Club very cleverly had a meeting with Mark Maloney live, setting the standard, just proving how far we can reach. The leadership team and I are attending many more club and district visits virtually than we could ever have managed by driving to those venues. We are connecting the district and the world from our own homes, without travel, saving costs, helping the environment, and keeping safe. I congratulate all Rotarians in East Anglia on your ability to adapt to these changes. Well done. Thank you. Now I wish to talk about our district strategic plan. This rolling 5-year plan has evolved by the team of continuity team each year, which comprises of the past district governor, the district governor-elect, and district governor nominee. And Ian and I are very passionate about continuity. We feel that it's not my year or my second year or Ian's year. This is the years of our strategic plan where we have the opportunity to improve our Rotary and grow Rotary. So what are our district strategic priorities and objectives for 2021? Well, Rotary opens opportunities. To achieve the vision of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation, we have set 4 priorities that will direct our work over the next 5 years. We must increase our impact. We've got to continue to eradicate polio and leverage the legacy. We must focus on our programs and offerings, improve our ability to achieve and measure impact, and expand the use of social media to contact with the community. We must, of course, continue to expand our reach. And this is an area that makes so much sense if we're going to grow Rotary. We also need to focus on enhancing our participant engagement. We need to support the clubs. And as you know, that we don't see ourselves as an elite executive in District 1080. We are all here to support the clubs. So, for example, an assistant governor has got clubs allocated to that assistant governor, but actually we're all there to help you. And you'll probably realize if you want to speak to somebody about foundation, you know, what better than to have a chat with Steve Munns and Derek Rothwell. We need to also continue to increase our ability to adapt. Wow, this has really happened to us. And as I said earlier, we've got that opportunity to adapt. But we've had to get used to new technology. You know, and Ian has often said to clubs, if it's your first Zoom, I'll come and open the Zoom meeting up and start you off. And thank you, Ian, for that, because you've given people a lot of confidence. But let's face it, a few weeks ago when I spoke to my son and he said, hang on a sec, I've just put my grandson, who's 3.5 years old, into contact with his young friends on a Zoom meeting. So if the youngsters can do it, those of us who are a bit more mature surely can do it. And it's great as you get older to still learn more skills. Okay. Now, we also have learnt to use some of the Zoom and some of the webinar technologies, but now we can start to think about how we can use that to the out-facing road, beyond Rotary itself, but out into our communities. I would now like to explain what clubs can do for the Rotary Action Plan. Rotary Action Plans build on our past successes and sets out our future direction to ensure that we continue to grow, unite people, and make a lasting impact. We encourage all members to review their club action plan, or even start one if you haven't got one. Think about what your own club and district goals and find meaningful ways to align those goals with our own plans. Have open and ongoing discussions in your club throughout our district about the new priorities and objectives. Then use those talks to achieve your own strategies. For each of the 4 priorities in the action plan, we all need to direct our work to, let's remind ourselves, increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and of course, increase our ability to adapt. Open opportunities to grow Rotary in East Anglia. And have fun while you're doing it. Enjoy your Rotary life. Thank you. Well, I would now like to invite RI Director-elect, Nicki Scott, to join us. And Nicki is a great driver of change and has a lot of experience in change. So we're very fortunate that we're all here together, focusing in some cases for the first time on change, but I'm surely not. But anyway, I know that it's better to listen to Nicki than myself, and Nicki has got 1 or 2 items to talk about, which over to you, Nicki.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, and good morning, everyone inside 1080. It's a pleasure to be with you here this morning, all the way from the Cotswolds and my little Cotswold cottage, as you can see behind me. As Jonathan said, I have the pleasure of serving as your director and your leader of the association for the 2 years from July 2021. So we've got 1 year to go until that officially starts, but I'm not one to wait, is the truth of it. And so I'm busy already. And as Jonathan and Ian are very cleverly illustrating, there's a lot to do in terms of planning. And you don't wait till the day that you start, you plan ahead as much as possible. And I love the emphasis this morning on the new strategic plan and indeed our vision. And we absolutely should be having fun. I'm not sure if that was a Mission Impossible music at the beginning there, Ian, because I think this is a mission very possible personally. And I think we should have a lot of fun doing it. Let me tell you a little bit about why I'm so passionate about Rotary. I joined Rotary when I was just 35 years old. I had 2 young children who were 7 and 5 at the time. And I actually joined in Chicago because I've lived in Chicago for 25 years. Even though I was born and raised here in the Cotswolds and I'm now back here, I spent 25 years over there. And I was lucky enough to be embraced by the Rotary community because I had no family and it was a real sense of belonging. And of course, for those of you who don't know, the original Rotary started in 1905 in Chicago. So of course, I heard a lot about how this was the birthplace of Rotary and a lot of pride there. And I think what sometimes we forget is that the original premise of Rotary was very much a networking organization. And it was about working with people who had the same ethics as you do and very much the same values. So I think that is really important that we don't lose sight of that. That's why they had the classification system. You had one person from each sector of vocation, if you like, and you want to do business with people with the same values as you. And those values are embodied in the 4-way test, which you don't hear over here very often. But is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I think that's a pretty darn good motto on which to live life. So I jumped right in. I got really into the organization really quickly because I made some fantastic friends. And as is the case for all Rotarians, once we're on the inside, we know we get this taste for service above self. And it's just so wonderful when you get that sense of, doing something that gives you a sense of purpose and significance outside of your normal career, and of course, giving back. And I think moving that to significance versus success was just massive for me. And it's been a huge gift to not only myself, but also my family, raising my children in Rotary. And I think we sometimes shy away from what we get out of it ourselves. And that vision statement where it says, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. Let's not forget, it's a real gift of what we get from Rotary. And the question is, who are we giving the gift to? It's a big one. So this is about change. I am very grateful. I'm a little bit passionate about change. I can't see all your faces this morning, but if I asked you to put your hands up, there probably wouldn't be everybody. But there's not so much to be scared of. Look at what we've achieved already. As Jonathan said, it's amazing once you've got a catalyst, as the COVID situation has been and as horrific as it has been, and not to take away in any way how hard it has been for so many people. It has provided an incredible accelerated initiative for change in Rotary, and a much needed one. To talk about fun, there's a little quote about change. Resisting change is like trying to hold your breath underwater. Even if you succeed, it doesn't end well because you're going to drown underwater. So that's not really a good idea. So don't resist it, embrace it. And I am a really big believer that we are at a critical time, a really pivotal time in Rotary's service or existence in the world. We've got over 100 years of fantastic service and doing good in the world behind us. And we've got so much to look forward to going forward. And I'm a big fan of really being proud of our heritage and where we've come from, and the fact we were really the original LinkedIn, if you like, but moving forward into becoming relevant, going for the next century of service. Let's not forget, we've been around 115 years, and the trends in volunteering have changed significantly in that time. And quite honestly, we've not quite kept up. So let's be specific about what happens at the club level. I really think that I'm a big believer Rotary is appropriate to all ages. I really do, including our younger generations. They're very much a volunteer mindset. But the thing is that we can't go forward anymore with one shoe fits all. This increasing need for flexibility and to meet people where they're at is so important. People love the modern trends in volunteering, and people love to be episodic. They want to jump in, jump out, do a little bit here, do a little bit there. They don't necessarily want to join something for life, or they don't want to necessarily do it the way that we've always done it. So offering options. People like to buy and not be sold. And one of my favorite motivational speakers is Simon Sinek. If you haven't looked him up, I thoroughly recommend him. He has a TED talk out there called Start With Why. And he very cleverly says, people don't buy what you do or how you do it, they buy why you do it. And I think we all need to tap into our own why. Why do we do what we do? Why do we give all these hours of service back to Rotary? I'm very clear, because it's honestly been the most incredible gift to my life and my family. And I think if you can find your own story of telling why you do it, so that when somebody asks you, what is Rotary? Please don't say, well, it's you know, we meet at my club, we meet on Tuesday evenings and we have dinner, and sometimes we have a bit too much chicken and it's not great. No, don't go down that road. Why did you join Rotary? It's the best decision I ever made. And then they're like, oh, why? And then you get to tell them why it is. So feed off your passion and help us bring a new Rotary. And I think this is a time now, almost because of COVID, to redefine our relevance even more. As Jonathan said, Holger Knaack's theme of Rotary opens opportunities could not have been more prophetic, really. We're finally not meeting behind closed doors. The doors are open. So we need to be embracing others into our organization, redefining our relevance. Some of you hopefully will have noticed some of the Together Talks. The whole idea behind Together Talks is for you as clubs to take the talks, take the recorded version. You don't have to show up at 19:05 on a Tuesday night. See if you can spot why it's 19:05, but you can use the recording anytime you want and bring others from the community. Have everyone bring a guest and get into a great conversation. You'll notice the tagline on Together Talks is join leaders, exchange ideas, take action. That's what we are. We are people of action. Somehow along the way, Rotary here seems to have devolved, or not just here, honestly, several places in the world, into check writers for other charities. But if we're just collecting money and giving the checks to other charities, where's the value add in that? We need to leverage the money. And it's a crying shame to me if we don't work with our own foundation. There was a fantastic story, so many stories out there. You know, you just raised 8,000, and if you leverage it through the foundation that multiplies our money, that can turn into 58,000. If we're not using our foundation, then we're leaving money on the table, and we're not going to have the ability to increase our impact and expand our reach, right? And enhance our engagement. So we're doing really well at the moment on increasing our ability to adapt. Why don't we move into focusing on what we can do more to do the other three priorities? And another thing I would like to ask you as clubs is to think about why people join your club. Why do they join your club? I think sometimes in our communities, we have a very confused identity. We're seen as generalists. Because we write these checks to lots of different charities, nobody really understands what it is we're doing. Think about cause-driven. Think about people like to give money to a cause these days. They like to know where their money's going. And I think it's really good as a club to ask yourself, would your community notice if you weren't there? You know, I know we do so much good. There's no denying that. We know that. But it's the people on the outside who might not know that. And I think the more we can focus on our public image, which I know is coming up soon in the assembly down the line, this triad of public image and foundation, if we have a really good image in the community, then we'll get more people to join us. They want to see that, they want to take action, not just sit and have a meal and write checks. They want to do something. So people of action and the public image and showing what we're doing, the work, not the handing of the check, but the work, and that drives more people to us. The more people we have, the more people we can contribute to the foundation, and the more we contribute to the foundation, the more money we get back. And let me just finish on that. There's a misperception with the foundation that the money is going away somewhere and then it's lost. That is so not true. Our foundation is one of the most respected top charities in the world for very good reasons. It has hardly any administrative expenses because we pay of those out of the interest on the endowment fund. So more than most charities can ever claim, whatever you put in comes back, and it comes back to us. It comes back to our district in the form of these matching grants. And I would love to see us do more with bringing foundation money into our islands so that we can get more done here. It doesn't have to go outside all of the time, but I'm not negating the fact there isn't a little bit, there's obviously need for that too. So we're not utilizing our foundation. Let's see if we can do it better. That's my call to action. And the more fun we can have doing it, the better. Probably best if I stop talking there, because I think you've got a very important video to share from our President Holger Knaack. Is that right?
Indeed it is, Nicki. Thank you very much for that. So it is good to see you from the Cotswolds in your lovely kitchen. And you haven't got to worry about driving home afterwards.
No, I don't. And I'm happy to stay on for a little bit longer because I'm enjoying this, and I'll be willing to take some questions after whenever that right time. So happy
I will just mention that that 1080 has agreed to take part in the launch of the multi-district PETS, yes, PETS, as the Americans call it, next year. And I know when Anne Geimer talks about youth, that we will be covering that off. But just a quick one on that, Nicki. I mean, you've seen it in the States, and obviously, perhaps you just give us a little quick sort of advert, if you like, so to encourage us to go into the multi-district PETS.
Thank you so much for reminding me, Jonathan. I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for being one of the pilot districts. Multi-district PETS is absolutely phenomenal. What's wonderful about it is it's like a mini convention for club presidents. What I've seen elsewhere in the world, and I've been to multiple district PETS over in the States, and there's just this energy comes from bringing so many more people into the same space. And of course, when you work and you collaborate with other districts, you can leverage the money, again, that word leverage, and you can do more to attract more speakers, and it becomes more inspiring. And some of the real magic in Rotary, in my mind, happens when you get outside of your club. I think one of the problems we struggle with Rotary is people join a club, but they don't necessarily join Rotary. And Rotary is so much bigger than the club. The club is our home. It's where we feel immediately connected. But some of the thing about that Rotary is so magic is it's a global connection. You can feel welcome anywhere in the world. And you start to get a taste of that at a multi-district PETS. You mentioned, Jonathan, especially with this change with the COVID and this virtual environment we're coming into, we've got people at the moment from our clubs going to meetings in Bahamas. We've got Germany, you've got Holger about to pop in from Germany. You know, I've been invited to other places all over the world, and it's just so exciting. And I think you really get to taste that at a multi-district PETS. And I think something that we should never lose sight of is, as much as we value all the people who help train us and develop us, and leadership development, I think, is something we way undersell in Rotary. I've learned so much, gained so much from leadership development in Rotary myself. And I think we undersell that. So PEPS is a great place to build your leadership skills for relevance, not just to how to run a club, but to how to run your life and how to run, you know, yourself in a business environment. So we're underselling that, but I think it gives you that taste of something even bigger than that, and to feel inspired and to come together and feel part of a bigger organization. So multi-district PETS is wonderful. And the great thing about it is, on the inside of 1080, it takes the weight off the district governors and helps them focus on serving the clubs. And I think the fact you mentioned you're in a servant leadership attitude is so important. And we're here to basically raise up the clubs. The clubs is where all the magic happens.
Thank you very much for that, Nicki. Yeah. And the district will hear more and more as we start to progress towards the PETS. And so look forward to that. And thank you, Nicki. So I think it's probably a good time. Yes, okay, thank you. Probably a good time now to move on. And we're fortunate to have a very recent video from Holger Knaack. So we'll sit back now and enjoy the view from the top.
Like you, I'm sitting at home. I was 6 weeks ago still in Evanston in mid to end March. I was joining some of the multi-district pets those days, and the last one I do not flew home. I did not flew home. I drive home to Evanston, and then after a short time, all the travel, of course, were canceled, and after that, the office was closed, and so I was sitting alone in the 18th floor. Sometimes I met President Mark Maloney, sometimes some staff members, getting just some materials, and then Suzanne and I decided it's time to go home, and then we flew on the 18th of March. We flew home here to Germany, and to be very honest, you feel pretty much safe at home and not somewhere else in the world. And so for us, life here, it's like before the shutdown. In Germany, the shutdown is going down, so we are able to go to go shopping right now. Next week, we are also, some of the restaurants are opening. So very closely, we are coming not back to normal, but back to other times. So I think that makes it easier, since 1 week we are also allowed to meet relatives at home. So last weekend we had our nieces from Berlin coming, but always with this required social distancing. So nobody knows what happened. So I think we have to be flexible right now. So hopefully everything becomes better. We know in some parts of the world it's are more affected than others. To be honest, we are here in Germany on the lucky side, because everything runs pretty much well here, and I think we are glad with our government right now. They took the right decisions to the right time, and I think more than 80%, 90% are following the advices of our government right now. So I'm happy being here, and now every day on Zoom meetings. I don't know, probably I'm the first RI president being 365 days at home. I don't know that. While Barry Raisin, I know he was traveling for 340 days. He was just 25 days at home all the time. But with this year, I'm reaching more Rotarians, I think, than all presidents before me, sometimes more than 1,000, 1,500 a day. So I think in every crisis, there's also an opportunity. And that's what I'm asking you right now. So especially in districts here, please make sure that everybody is on board, that every Rotary Club is able to do a meeting like this here, a Zoom meeting or whatever platform they are using. I think this is really important, that all Rotary Clubs are doing this. And we have so great Rotaractors. They are so convenient with ITs and all these platforms. I think they can help clubs to step into this. And as important, I think, is for Rotary Club that they make sure that all members are able to join our Zoom meetings or go to webinar, whatever they use. And it's easy with this year. So I normally love to use just a smartphone to go into a Zoom meeting, because it's easy. I can walk in the house. I have a small stand. I can sit wherever I am, sometimes just for a coffee break or in the morning. So it works pretty well. And so if we have everybody on board, I think we are able to survive this crisis much, much better. And I was also I was discussing with some clubs here in our area in Germany. I think, hey, this is also a good opportunity to invite non-Rotarians to join one of our meetings when there is a great speaker. I think probably for many of them it becomes boring sitting every evening in front of the television. So joining a Rotary Club meeting, even if it's virtual, it might be very interesting for people. So for me, it's not as always, but it's a good opportunity to meet people, to see people, to talk with people, to listen to speakers. So I think it's a really great opportunity we have meeting virtually. And of course, everybody wants to come back to normal or to the so-called new normal. But I would like to ask everybody not to go back to normal, because this is our opportunity to refresh our Rotary. So I'm asking all Rotary clubs, please think about your future. I've done that already in San Diego, but now I'm also asking you, think about everything what you do in your Rotary club. Start from scratch, start from zero, and rethink everything regarding your location, your meeting times, your meeting frequency, your meeting location. Is the date the right one? Think about how you run your meetings. Think about your events, your Rotary events, how you select your new members, and think about your service projects, your fundraising events. So simply everything. I think with this, your club became more effective and more flexible. And with this, definitely, I think, more attractive for new members. So this is what I really like to ask all of you. And it's one thing is also important, what we have to know. What is our added value to our members? Each club should ask this, what is the added value for members? I think this is something also when we are going to marketing our Rotary Club to new members. I think they should know why they are going to join our Rotary Club, and especially our Rotary Club. I think this is something every Rotary Club should discuss. Again, what is the added value? And we have so many things to offer to new members. It's not just service. Of course, service is number one. It's our everlasting theme: service about service above self. But we have much more to offer. If I think just about our core values, leadership skills, if I think our new cooperation we have with Toastmasters, so we can offer young Rotarians to develop their skills in free speaking. So we have our youth programs. They are really unique, and there are no better youth exchange programs in the world. And of course, our network, our national and international network. So our classification system. So we have so many things what we can offer to new members, and they had to know what it is. Yes, and I'm always thinking about how to grow. This year, Mark Maloney started his initiative, Growing Rotary, and I will, of course, continue this initiative. And this means growing Rotary not just by the number of our members, but on all levels, to make Rotary stronger on all levels. And so we are working together on this, and this will be also our goal for next year. I will not ask you to grow by specific numbers. Whenever we have done that, we failed. I'm always asking you, please grow sustainable. And even if you don't grow, it's important to keep your members. Well, it's okay, but growing, okay, of course, it's growing always good. But keeping your members, this humble suggestion from Germany, I said it for pets, also in your area. It's just look for the good members in your area and make sure that they are a really good fit to your Rotary Club, and make sure that your club meets also their expectations. I think this is important for new members. And then, of course, take care of them. Take care of them in engagement. Really lend a hand and think, hey, you're our friend, and we wish that you will be our lifetime friend. So that's about my messages. Polio will be difficult this year because everything is about Corona, and we will have a hard time to contribute, to look for contributions for polio. I'm asking you, please stay with us, because we made that promise to the children of the world to end polio. So our time will come when there is a vaccine against Corona, because of Rotary started this in many countries, in many continents. There is a perfect structure to vaccinate people just because of polio. Because when you go to all over Africa, all over East Asia, there is the structure, they can start immediately to immunize people. So our time will come, and I'm pretty sure that we can also use this for our public image. Yes, so I'm really looking forward to the next year to work with all of you for Rotary, for what we can do to help our people. So, you know, Rotary opens opportunity. This is for the people who need our help, and we are providing opportunities and opening opportunities for people when we just providing glasses or providing fresh water or surgery. So that works for those, and it works for us because it is for us, yes, opens opportunities for a richer, more meaningful life. And it also works for new members when we are looking for new members. Okay, Rotary opens opportunities for you, as I said before. Yes, listen, I'm talking at 10 minutes, I think it's enough, and I'm looking forward to work with you. For me, Rotary is a really wonderful, unique organization, and I'm asking all of you, it's our mission to advance and protect this organization, this Rotary, for the generations to come. Rotary opens opportunity for the people we serve and for ourselves. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Holger, for giving us that message. And of course, it fits very well with our district aims and our messages. And be a good opportunity, really, for me to ask Nicki, who has already said she likes change, but how, Nicki, would you start encouraging us, and in fact, Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland, to grow our Rotary, because it is our main ambition, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a fantastic video from Holger. That's probably one of the best I've seen. He's just such a passionate man, and he's just so authentic and easy to get to know. So hopefully everyone was able to relate to his passion as well, because that's really what this all comes down to. So I've talked about getting clear on your own why and sharing your own personal stories to grow Rotary. We've talked about club flexibility, which Holger just focused on significantly. I love the way he said, question everything. Why are you doing it? You know, we're back to the start with why. What's working? What isn't working? It doesn't have to be the same anymore. And I think he also inferred the new norm doesn't have to go back to the old way. We can embrace everything we've learned from this new catapult forward with virtual technology. There are some people coming to more meetings now than they've had more people at their meetings than they ever have done. But in going back to your question, Jonathan, of growing Rotary, I personally think we don't need to force certain clubs to change if they don't want to. They love what they're doing. They're doing a wonderful service to their community. And I think we've been trying to force a square peg into a round hole too long. I say, have the clubs do exactly what they want to do and keep doing it if they don't want to specifically change. But everyone in your district, all of us, all Rotarians, need to own the need to plant new clubs around the old clubs. So let the traditional clubs be traditional if that's what they know and that's what they love, but grow a new Rotary around that. And think about growing the new Rotary around cause bases. I've seen some incredible clubs get started across the world. A club devoted, it's the Club of Modern Slavery, to get against modern slavery, not for modern slavery, let's get that right. Whatever the cause is, plenty of clubs are emerging in India for clean water and sanitation. Any of those major focuses of Rotary that we work with, it can be economic development. There's some amazing work being done down on the south coast of England with social innovation and social enterprise. These are businesses that, much like a conscious capitalism that we will be talking about in Together Talks in 3 weeks, these are businesses that form for purpose to do good in the world, as opposed to, so it's profit for purpose, not profit for pockets. And I think we become much more relevant to the business community and younger generations, the more we embrace that. So think about cause-driven additional new clubs that can be free to do Rotary whatever way they want it. We don't have to ring bells anymore or wear chains or even sing. I don't know, whatever it is, but doesn't mean it's wrong for the people who love that. So grow the new Rotary around the old Rotary, I say.
Thank you, Nicki. And I can't resist pointing out to you that on the backdrop from Holger Knaack was the Rotaract logo. And in San Diego, in fact, both years I've been there, there's been a presence from Rotaractors. And we in this district haven't done terribly well. We've only got one Rotaract club at the moment in Berries Netherlands. And I've been to the club with our incoming youth chair, and we had a meeting at the Berries Netherlands club, and they're great young people, you know, really fantastic people. And the energy that we should still have, regardless of our age, is a good example when you see these young people that turn up for this meeting for about an hour. They've done their prep, they know what they're going to talk about. They may grab a beer or they may not, but they just get on with it. And for us, we've got a lot to learn from that. And Holger himself was a Rotaractor. So, you know, he's come that way, and there's some great people in our district who have been Rotaractors in the past. But I will also echo what Nicki said about, I mean, I think I've been to all but 5 clubs now in this district in my first year, and they are all different. Yes, you could put them into categories, but what I love about going to the club is that they are different to the one even in the same town.
Yes.
And they've got qualities to offer, you know, and when we've got those varieties in Cambridge and Norwich and Ipswich, if you look at the club and realize what you are, what your USP is, what is your new unique selling proposition or attraction to those people, and find those people who would fit in with you. And also don't forget that when it started, it was all about networking. And young people, business people, enjoy that. The sad thing is when we retire, some of those links get broken and it makes it harder to connect. So to grow Rotary, I still believe in many cases, we will need to start new clubs, and they can be Rotaract clubs. I really would love to see a Rotaract club in Norwich, Cambridge, Ipswich, you know, and anywhere in actual fact. And I know 1 or 2 people, like David Mills at King's Lynn, is so keen to start something with the foreign communities, you know, the Latvians and Lithuanians and people like that, where they can then reflect some of that community, because we don't really go beyond what you expect in Rotary in England. You know, we all look the same, and we can do better than that. Because when people are different, and I noticed that when I was in San Diego, you sit at a table at breakfast, you don't have to sit anywhere. You sit down and suddenly a Japanese person will sit next to you. And then somebody from Australia sits next to you. And then it's almost like United Nations. By the time you've had breakfast every day of the week, you've met so many people, and you realize that they don't do Rotary exactly the same, even in their own countries. So please be yourselves. Please do what you're good at, and just grow it a bit more.
I love what you're saying there, Jonathan. I think, you know, it goes back to that getting different opinions. And, you know, that's another thing that's wonderful about multi-district pets, is you get outside your own club and you learn from other people. And I think your emphasis on Rotaract there is huge. I'm working on an initiative right now in Rotary Great Britain and Ireland to grow Rotary. And I just did a focus group with 5 Rotaractors and Rotarians who were all under 30. And the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion that they bring to the table. And you know, we focused on what the Rotary they want going forward. They don't need to sit at a meal. You know, they want that global citizen flavor. We've got Heidi Eggleton and Luke Addison, 2 of those people coming to Together Talks after Sanj next Tuesday, Sanj from Shelterbox. They really, these are people who are leaders by mindset. Let's move away from the old model of you had to earn your leadership title by earning your stripes and pushing the glass ceiling in corporate world. No, we've got 20-year-olds running major corporations. We have so much to learn from them. And that infusion of intergenerational thinking is wonderful. So let's not miss out on that.
Right, thank you. Now, Ian Elliott, can I ask you to join us and share with us any message from you, but also what questions we may have that we can talk about?
Hello, I've appeared. Nice to be here.
Hello, Ian.
Hi. A couple of comments, first of all, because I've been monitoring what's been going on. First, a comment to Nicki. Very inspirational, and and a number of clubs are asking whether you can come and inspire their clubs. So you might your inbox and your email inbox might be growing quite fast, I would imagine. An observation or a question for our district governor is, I think it actually came from his own club. What links do you have with Above to be able to get the weather this good to stop people going outside on their patio and actually sitting and watching the assembly?
Well, I have a simple answer to that, really. I mean, in my DGN, about to become DGE in Elliot, is a wonder with technology, and obviously he's probably got together with perhaps one or two other people in the district and has waved his magic wand. So for those of you who have joined us today, thank you. And the garden will still be there later.
Okay, I've got a question here from Keith Tovey. We know Keith Tovey, who's on our team. Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, said in 600 BC, if you do not change direction, you may end up where you are going. If Rotary does not change direction, Rotary will end up ...
Very good.
Fantastic. Is that a question?
Well, I think really it's a statement from Keith, and we probably would all agree exactly with that.
Absolutely. I think you're bang on, Keith. I think, we don't have an option anymore not to change. This is too wonderful an organization to let it peter out. And, there's a real hard factor here, and we all love, you're not being ageist here, but 85% of our Rotarians in these islands are over 60. And they're wonderful people, but we've got to get some younger future leaders into the mix too. So yeah, no option not to change.
I just mentioned to people watching if there will be just a couple more minutes for questions. So if anybody's got a question, please put it onto the chat. I mean, it's nice to see so many people actually saying hello to each other, but some questions would be good. We've got somebody in also from, where is it? Ghana? No. Kenya. We have somebody joining us from Kenya, which is great. So I'm not quite sure how District 1080, but
Rotary Connect.
Oh, it's an e-club person from Kenya. There we go. Right, that explains it. A question for you, Nicki. Though I saw on social media just a couple of days ago a comment which I thought was very good, that when you're doing job interviews, there are some sort of pretty stock standard questions that they ask, and they just wondered whether back in 2015, when people were having job interviews and they were asked the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, how many of them got that right when we look at what 5 years later looks like? But I guess the question is, where do you see Rotary in 5 years' time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that is so far away right now. When you stop and think what's happened in the space of the last 6 months, I think you're absolutely right. And this increasing, escalating, exponentially increasing rate of change, I find it exciting. I do see a hybrid of what we used to be and what we are now becoming. I see very much more being done through virtual connection, because these new clubs we're planting, we don't have to have borders anymore. We can, look, we've got somebody in from Ghana. It's beautiful. And that incredible diversity is great. So virtual platforms going forward, I'm fortunate to be serving on a pandemic response task force for Rotary International right now. And we're asking ourselves this exact question: what are the long-term opportunities that are coming? And we can connect the world more. If the clubs want me to come and speak to them, I would love to do several clubs together. Let's, instead of one at a time, how about we just do a virtual meeting and have loads of people in the room, because that would be exciting. So I think that will never replace, however, the need to meet personally too. So definitely the multi-district pets, I think, will become even more needed the more we do virtually. I see the leadership development training being a mix of self-serving from our wonderful learning center. If you haven't visited that, please do. There is so much that's so good out there. There's so much you can teach yourself about Rotary, about the fellowships worldwide, fun stuff to do, not just Rotary Club, how to run a Rotary Club stuff, the Rotary action groups that you can get involved with. There's something for everybody's passion. And I think self-serving and having opportunities to do so much virtually, but then come together, because it's got to be a mix of the two. And I think I can't imagine a world where we don't have a Rotary International Convention. I know there are some people who see that as a real hurt to the environment, but I think if we do a good mix of less traveling to congest locally and then just the occasional chance to get together and really taste the internationalism of our organization, I think it's a great thing. But I think we are becoming much more inclusive in this new world, much more inclusive, which is a good thing.
Good. I've had a couple of questions, sort of public image orientated, but if it's all right, I'm going to save those for next week, because we're going to do quite a lot on public image, and I think we will cover that. I've had a question though from Jane Gaynor. Should we think about leveraging RILA more to help us set up more Rotaract clubs? The Bury St Edmunds Rotaract Club say that the commitment to meet each week, month is a problem, but of course with Zoom that changes, and perhaps that links into technology with younger people as well. Absolutely.
I think all of these programs should be looked at in terms of what can we do to further development and take advantage of this virtual environment. One of the young ladies who was in the focus group I had last week was Rebecca Barley. She came to Rotary through RILA. She then got involved into Rotaract, so exactly that was her next step. And she is currently president of the Rotary Club of Innovation, and she holds meetings with her 9-month-old daughter on her lap. I mean, that is just so fantastic. She doesn't feel excluded anymore. And she said RILA gave her, to hear her talk about the value of RILA and how she was very shy, retiring, very insecure, was not really confident or had good self-esteem, and RILA completely took her out of herself. And that is an incredible opportunity for us to be offering to more youth. The amount of pressure on youth today in this ever accelerating world and the overload of information, anything we can do to offer them early development in leadership skills and increase their confidence, and then build them into Rotaractors and who then become Rotarians. I mean, that's the ideal. Absolutely.
There's a couple of people just asked whether this will be available afterwards. So yes, it will, and we will make this available, especially Nicki's contribution they want, so which is great. Just a question about youth, a few people just about youth in general and youth competitions, and are they relevant and should we be supporting them? I think that's probably a question to both of you, actually, sort of from a Rotary Great Britain and Ireland point of view, and also from a District 1080 point of view.
Jonathan, why don't you take that one?
Well, I think to begin with, it's a great link into our communities. I mean, I joined Rotary because I was asked to be involved in sponsoring a technology tournament, and then you meet people that can actually work in the community with you, that people who perhaps will become volunteers and then may become members. So I think youth is very, very important. I think it's going to be a challenge in the coming months because with schools having been disrupted, I think their first focus will be on the curriculum and the achievement of those goals for education. But I think it has an importance. I do personally wonder whether we have too many and then we don't focus accurately or intensively on the ones that really matter to us. And I know some clubs are very, very good at doing their own club ones, but we're not always quite so good at linking them together across the district, and then perhaps to engage further with Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland. So I feel it's still a very important area, but it's an area where I think we can perhaps streamline it and get more efficient at it. Also by using this technology we're currently using today.
So Jonathan, to build on that, because I think that's bang on, I think let's look at that in the same way as Jane's saying, how do we enhance connectivity between RILA and Rotaract? How do we enhance the connectivity amongst these loads of different youth competitions? How about we invite the parents to come and talk to us about the value that their children have got from participating in, I think we just miss the trick sometimes. Do we take all these youth competitions, students, and help them form an interact club? Do we talk to them about what Rotary is? Do we talk to the parents about opportunities to come and get engaged with us? We just miss that trick, and we can't just sit back and wait for people to figure it out. We've got to be more proactive in getting the message across about the value of what we're doing, not just the fact it's a one-off thing. Totally agree. More collaboration would be great on that.
I agree.
Great. I've got a sort of a technical question, I guess, just about PEPs or pets or whatever. One of the successes that we've had with the sessions that we've been running here over the years has been the discussion breakout rather than classroom. Will that be a part of the new multi-district?
Oh, thank you. Who asked that question? That's such a good question. I can't believe I didn't emphasize this before, because the format of a multi-district PETS is a general assembly to sort of inspiring speaker, and then to go off immediately into breakouts. And the model that Jonathan and Ian and the other 2 districts that were working with you, 1240 and 1260, will follow the same format, that there will be some breakouts that are specific to topic. So you can opt in, you want to learn more about the foundation, or you want to learn more about public image, you want to learn more about how to plant a new club. Some of those will be opt-in. And then there will be some where you're grouped by club size. So you can then mix with other presidents of the same club size and figure out some challenges that you're facing and learn from them and how they're tackling it. Fundraising, how do you stop fundraisers from getting tired? Maybe you don't stop fundraisers from tired, maybe you just start a new one. Lots of things to cross-fertilize. So breakouts are a massive piece of a multi-district PETS, including breakouts by district. So you meet your entire team as well. That is a huge part of it, because I think something I was trying to say earlier and I didn't quite get out is we learn so much. I think we learn as much from each other as we do from on the specific learning forums. It's not about talking. International Assembly is designed to facilitate discussion amongst the people at the table. If we can do more to teach ourselves the basics and make more opportunity of exchanging ideas when we're actually in person, we'll get a lot further, a lot faster.
Yeah, Ian, if I can add to that, I mean, there are assistant governors that were with us in Warwick recently, enjoyed the very things I think that Nicki spoke about for assistant governor training. And I know that has been a part of our recent success. And I know Lindsay, it may have been Lindsay that asked the question, has been very focused on keeping that going. And it's something that we intend to continue to do with our president-elect, president nominees, I mean, because we can keep that personal so that they get the basic skills. So the year later, when they come to the multi-district PETS, that their basic learning is in the bag, but then they can integrate with other people. And I remember the table breakouts in San Diego that you led with Barney was just fantastic, because you sit at a table with different people, and we had to launch a new club, and we were given the old Rotary magazines and some scissors and some sticky tape, and we had to actually find our own brand, our own label, the heading, working in a team with people you'd never met before. Wow, fantastic. And then we had to present it, or we put all things on these boards. People were then go around taking photographs of people's ideas that they never met before.
Amazing how 1 and 1 can then equal 6 suddenly when you work together and you build off each other's ideas. That exact workshop is available. So whenever we get out of this lockdown and people can get back in operation, then use that workshop with the district to help clubs figure out how to start new clubs. It'd be great. Clubs own this responsibility as much as the district, I think. We've got, by all means do what you want to, and don't let anyone else in if you don't want to, but please share in the initiative to start planting new clubs. It won't threaten yours, because they weren't joining them in the first place. They'll be doing something completely different, and you can do what you love anyway.
Okay. Ian, have we...
sorry, we're nearly at time. I've just got two quick questions that, well, they might not be quick answers, I guess, but quick question. If that's all right, if we can just sort of go over time a little bit. One is about climate change, and climate change. Is it not an issue? It says here, is it not an issue made for Rotary? But I think I have, while I was doing a little bit of research, looking at what Holger's had to say, then I think there are two things. One, he says that Rotary is not political. However, there is a time and a place to raise your voice. But he also suggested that if we watch this space about the areas of focus, then there might be some changes. I don't know if you can add anything to that, Nicki.
I do know already that it has been embraced by the Rotary Board of Trustees to embed environment intrinsically into all that we do. The question is whether it becomes an independent area of focus or not, and that isn't quite decided, which is why Holger was sitting on the fence a little bit there. But absolutely, the environment is critical. If we don't look after the planet, we haven't got anything to give our next generation anyway. So there's no way we should be backing off protecting our environment. It's an integral part of what we do. And I think it's something, if you're talking about cause-driven clubs, my own club, North Cotswolds Rotary, we did a huge initiative on reducing plastics, and it's called the 3 R's, reduce, recycle, and reuse. And we went out to the community, and we brought all the leaders from the community to have a conversation with us. They all trying to do the same thing. Let's stop doing things in isolation of the rest of the community that we're trying to serve. That's much more relevant if we work with our communities, not separate from them.
Yeah. And of course, we've got our very own Keith Tovey. He's very involved at Rotary Great Britain and Ireland with the environment. And Keith is on stage, as it were, on the Saturday, the 20th of June. So that's something to look forward to.
Fantastic.
Anything else, Ian?
Yeah, just one sort of question. I think it sort of encapsulates really, and just sort of probably goes over a little bit of the ground that Nicki's already said. There was a suggestion from somebody that we could reach out to those clubs that are struggling, or perhaps even those that have closed, to suggest that with virtual meetings they can join in with other clubs to form a stronger, greater whole, which I think is a great idea. But then there was a question here that just says, basically, on the one hand, you say that if clubs love what they are doing, carry on. But on the other hand, there is no option other than to change. How do you put those two together?
Okay, so two questions in there. First, about the struggling clubs. Hopefully most of us have heard about the concept of a satellite club, where you plant a new club that until they become 20 people, which is the magic number, they're essentially part of your club, but they're operating differently. We have a satellite club at North Cotswolds Rotary. They meet every other week and they have wine and crisps. That was before we got into lockdown. That was it. That's all they do, and they get the job done. They work on some amazing projects. They've done vegetable gardens for the local school. They've done a playground for they were born out of the parents of the school. So that was a great initiative. But I think also I've seen several districts address this issue, that where clubs are struggling in this virtual environment, don't wait. Let's offer an e-club option across the district. For those people that are sort of cut out, come up with something that you're doing as a district that gives everyone an opportunity to still connect. So that's important. The other one, what I said with the don't change is, I think any club that doesn't want to change, that's okay. But please own a responsibility to support planting new clubs at the same time. So it's yes and, not either or. It's do both. It's do both.
Okay.
I just sort of it's actually a statement at the end, which we've had a few, but it's I know from the Aylsham Club, Fiona there has said, what an inspirational session and a real ray of hope during the last few months of isolation. Thank you.
This is a mission possible, not a mission impossible, right? Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I would just say on that, Nicki, the idea of the music was that this is your mission if you choose to take it, if you know. Okay, there was a bit of logic behind it. Okay.
I'm teasing you. Please accept. I think anything that grabs people's attention like that at the start of a meeting is a very good use of technology. Thank you.
Ian, do you want to do a bit of an advert for next week and the rest of them?
Yes, so the Together Talks, which I really invite you all to embrace and to use. Next week we have Sanj Sankrithan. I think I said that right. He is the Chief Executive of Shelterbox. Shelterbox is doing so much. They're an official partner of Rotary. They were actually born from a Rotary club. And they are doing great good around the world. And some of you may have heard John Hugo speak with him on the international stage virtually. But we're going a slightly different tack, because Together Talks, we like to do a little something different, not what everyone else is doing. So we're going to talk to Sanj about his personal path in becoming a humanitarian that then became a CE of an organization like Shelterbox, and the ways that we can continue to do good work together. They're doing a very active role in COVID. Far from being shut down, they are more active than ever. Then we've got Heidi and Luke talking about the value of being global citizens and how that is a one to watch if you want to embrace younger generations in Rotary, and please be sure that you do. You'll hear from them directly about what it is about the value that appeals to them of being part of this organization. And Rotary is how they found each other. They're best of friends. And then we have the conscious capitalism conversation. And then last but not least this month coming, we have Sylvia Whitlock, who is the woman we have to thank for women being in Rotary. And not only was she the first woman president, she was the first African-American president. So she has pushed the boundaries of Rotary, and we have a lot to learn from a lady like that on embracing change.
Right.
Great. And then next Saturday.
Yes, next Saturday.
Yeah, all come together again next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and we have foundation. So we've got Derek, we've got membership, we've got Mr. Berman, and public image, and we will be telling or helping you to tell your story, which is going to be important, and just show how actually those three all fit together in a way that actually tells the Rotary story and helps generate membership. So 10 o'clock next Saturday morning, bring your own bacon butties, and we'll see you there.
Can I just thank you for inviting me to join you? I have really enjoyed this. The professional production that you've put on is fantastic. The clip you picked of Holger is fantastic. And the way that you've built off the strategic plan and shown that it doesn't have to be a really boring document. It's about action. We're actually calling it the Rotary Action Plan. So call to action to all of you here today. Please go out and take some action on what you've heard. And thank you for spending time with us all on Saturday morning.
Well, I'm going to start with thanks, and I will start by thanking you, Nicki, because whenever I've engaged with you, you've always been inspirational, and we wish you luck with your new responsibilities, which we'll all learn about in the coming year or so. And you know, and it's a great opportunity to share your enthusiasm with the district. I would also I need to thank the team, the district leadership and training team that's chaired by Anne Geimer. Anne is our first year in this, but Anne has a lot of experience. In fact, in the preparation for this, for 3 days, Anne was involved with a massive conference with coaches, life coaches in France. The sad thing is she didn't actually land up going to Paris to do it, but so Anne has done that. But we have got a good team in leadership and training, which has actually mirrored our continuity. And also, I need to really give a very special thanks to Ian, because Ian's, for me, is very much my right-hand man. We really are able to deliver over the next 3 years, the continuation of what we've already started. And Ian's ability to deal with the technology and keep us online when we're not sure whether we've got the right link or whatever it might be. So Ian, thank you very much. And I would also, of course, like to thank the audience. And it's a shame I can't see the whole audience, because I do like to engage with an audience. in real life. So thank you all for finding the time to join us. I'm sure your gardens won't have suffered by not being in them for a little while. And please engage with us next Saturday and let us know if you've got any comments that you think we can improve it on, and because you may not have all got a chance to have a chat today. But thank you all and have a safe journey to the other room. Okay. Thanks very much. Signing off. Bye now.
Bye-bye.